Introduce yourself.
Welcome, everyone. This is Our Android Week with Alan Furstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carrico in Kingsport, Tennessee, Cadeas Kalut in Newport Beach, California, and in Menifee, California, Pam Azure. This is Our Android Week. And welcome. I think I already said that. Cadeas and Alan are here. Pam cannot make it tonight. And Bruce and Duke can't make it tonight, I don't think, unless Duke pops in later sometimes. All right, so our first thing is Android One. Tell us what that's about.
Sure. So this is essentially going to be the I/O recap episode of our Android Week. We'll be covering all of the stuff that happened at I/O, and one of the more overlooked stories from I/O is that they're now backing this thing called the Android One platform, which is kind of, in short, a recommended list of hardware and suppliers and manufacturers and everything, so that if you're somebody that wants to build, and by somebody we mean a company, that wants to build a smartphone using Android, all you need to do is go down this checklist, find the pieces that you want, find somebody that'll put it into a case for you, and lo and behold, you have an Android smartphone. Is that your take on it, Cadeas?
That is my take.
What do you think about this?
I think it's good because this forces basically the emerging markets to be able to stay current, because a lot of times when you go to different countries that are not like ours, a lot of times their Android phones are behind, and so they don't have all the access to everything that we normally have access to. So I think that's good. Me having friends all over the world and be like, hey, did you try out this app? Oh, I can't try it out because I'm on Gingerbread or whatever. So I think
Yeah,
that's not expensive.
I think it's an interesting approach. I think one of the things I'm kind of wondering about, though, is you're going to start getting a bunch of phones that are exactly the same. How do you differentiate yourself in the market when you're talking about these sorts of things? And
But then when you say that, you're saying like, well, we need TouchWiz and all the other ones I can't think of the name of, HTC Sense.
Can't they still put their wrapper like TouchWiz around it? Or they can't?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want them to do that. I mean, I like Android to be as pure as it is. I don't like TouchWiz and all that stuff on it. And
Yeah.
I think we like. Oh, there you go.
I keep losing you. I don't know who keeps losing who, though.
They can still accomplish a lot of that, like the Sprint store or the Sprint Zone thing, where with a specific carrier that you can pay your bill from your phone or check your minutes or whatever. They get to do that through the App Store. They don't need to put a wrapper. A lot of that.
We're not talking software, though. This is a hardware thing. See the category? It says hardware up top.
Just kidding.
So, I mean, I get it, and I think on the whole it's a good thing, but at what point are you just going to start getting more of the same? And at what point, how does one manufacturer differentiate themselves from another manufacturer at this point? Because you're not going to do it in software. That's all Android. You're not going to do it in hardware. That's off of Android's list. What are you going to do it with?
I mean, isn't that usually the specs?
But these aren't specs. These are, list of chips that it's been certified with, and list of components that you can include.
So then I guess that's up to the manufacturers to figure out.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've talked about the disadvantage. You think manufacturers are going to jump on this? I imagine they spoke to manufacturers before they announced it, right? To get feedback? And may have tailored it a bit after that feedback?
I have no idea. I mean, the advantage to this is that you'll make it easier and cheaper to build an Android phone, and therefore it's going to drive the price of Android phones and good Android phones down, because there'll be a billion Turga whoever chips built, and a billion screen components, and all of them will be exactly the same, so you don't have to worry about what you're getting. I think the advantage here is, as Cadeas noted, particularly in the emerging markets, there's going to be this ability to manufacture phones cheaper, make them available with a Google, the Google Play brandedness, the Android brand on it, and it'll just work. So there's definite advantages here. I'm just worried it's going to stifle innovation.
So, is this like going to offer a phone at the really low price point that you kind of need in some of these markets, or will there still be cheaper, crappy Android phones, or is this built to really be efficient so that there really isn't a need for cheap?
Well, there's the thing. This isn't anything. There is no product called the Android One. This is a program that allows phone manufacturers to kind of choose the components they want and hand them off to a production line and have them manufactured for them.
And the advantage is you can tell consumers that this will run everything that's on the other phones.
The advantage is you can tell consumers it'll run everything, and the other advantage is that since it's a list of components, the components essentially become bulk components. So the price as a whole gets driven down.
So it's like the Atari 2600. You could get the one with the Sears label on it or the Atari label on it, but it was the exact same thing. But not really.
Something like
similar. That. Okay. All right. So that was segment 1. Okay, next is Android TV.
Why are you gonna make it sound like that on Android TV?
Because it's accurate.
No. You gotta give it a chance. Give it a chance.
See, you're like, you
That's
actually.
the problem today. Is we gave it a chance. We gave it a chance 2 years ago and 3 years ago. And
my housekeeper's
time-
here. She has my Chromecast.
Okay.
I've loaned it to her.
So Cadeas, tell us about Android TV and why this time they got it right.
Well, see, you don't have to say it like that. All right, so Android TV basically takes, basically brings Google to the TV for a third time, and Google's trying to do it right this time. Right yet, we know that they have made a play to include gaming, and they've opened their platform up and made development easier for it. Do I think Android TV is going to catch on? I don't know. I'm in the middle on it. I mean, I'm more prone to accept a box version of Android TV than to have it built into a television, although I haven't seen the specs on the TVs yet. But yeah, that's how I see it. I see it as something that to be watched, if anything.
Watch TV. Get it? Ha 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 ha.
Oh God. So what do you think, Alan? Apparently you don't think it's going to do anything.
Here's the thing. On one hand, I understand what they're saying and what they're trying to do here. They're saying, let's do for television what we did for phones. Let's create a base platform. Let's make it so that you can insert modules that you see having a need, core basic driver modules. So if your TV supports 4 HDMI ports, you get to, you'll put in 4 HDMI modules. If your TV supports over-the-air antenna broadcast, you put in the over-the-air antenna module. I get that. On that level, I think it's a good idea. But what's the most delicate way to put this that I can?
Just put it how it is.
They're trying to take a concept that has failed them miserably 3 times in the past, that clearly they do not understand, that clearly they are incapable of achieving, and they're trying to cram it down our throats again, thinking that somehow this time they're doing something different when they're not. The user interface, as far as I can tell, is 95% of the same thing that we see in every freaking other user interface for televisions. Every set-top box has this user interface. Every cable box, every television, everything has the same damn interface. And it's bad. It's a bad idea. It's broken. It's brain damage. They're deceiving themselves by thinking it's a good idea. They do not have a creative bone in their body when it comes to this UI design. The only thing about this that I can tell that is different from before is that it will require voice input. That is the only thing that it seems to, I mean, it'll still require remote controls, for God's sakes. Okay? That's stupid. Even Google knows better than that. And they're still pursuing this foolish notion that remote controls are a good thing. The only good feature that I can find in all of Android TV, the only good feature, is that it requires Chromecast support built in. So that at the very least, you'll be buying a Chromecast, a device that has a Chromecast in it. You won't need two of them. That's about the only feature I think is good.
So you don't see the game, the fact that they're targeting gaming this time as a
They're not
slight.
targeting gaming.
You don't think so?
No. They're kind of hoping they can sneak gaming in, and that maybe people will pay attention to it. But they're not targeting gaming.
They had to. It's just the latest iteration. There was Google TV, then the Nexus Q, which wasn't really replacing Google TV, and then it was a side thing, and then
Well, that's the thing, Dan. They had Google TV, and then as they let Google TV die, that team kind of wandered over and started working on the Nexus Q. And as they let the Nexus Q die, that team kind of wandered over again and started doing the Chromecast, which actually is a smart, brilliant device.
especially for the price point.
A little underpowered, but an absolutely brilliant device. And then this Android, the Android TV team is a totally different team. Seems to think that they can do it all over again. I'm sorry.
The Chromecast is good. Heather, you don't have to go on camera, but tell me real quick, you use the Chromecast as a babysitter, or you actually use it?
I use it as both.
She uses it both. Her mom's not very tech savvy.
She enjoys it.
She enjoys it. Oh, your mom uses it.
And my brother
And your-
arranged for having 4 children. It works for him.
And it,
We're on the spectrum.
okay, so all the kids have a TV in their room? Okay, so in her case, they have 4 TVs, one in each kid's room, and father of 4, who works for a living, earns his money. $35 a room is great, right? So that's a great device. So now we go to Android TV. There's no reason to have a Chromecast if you have Android TV, correct? She said it's built in.
That's correct. It's built in. It has a Chromecast built into it, essentially. That's one of the requirements for all Android TV compatible devices.
And that would just be software they would add.
They're
Right.
calling it Google Cast, right?
Is that what they're calling it now? It's not so much software the whole thing is software that they add. Android TV is as much hardware as Android for phones is a phone.
Hey, real quick, one topic I want to do real quick. Ryan Gurnick wants to know what is the topic of the show. It's anything about
Boy,
Android.
we wonder that all the time.
Yeah, anything about Android. So right now we're talking about Android stuff. But if you look on my profile, Dan McDermott, you can probably link to it from my channel. The last post of this player, I have a list of the topics we're discussing. I can't put it in the YouTube thing yet, I don't think, because it was a live event. Or maybe I'm wrong. Joshua Kidd, some interesting conversation going on. Okay, that's a share. The idea of idiocracy, where humans sit and watch multiple stations of garbage. You can answer the phone on TV, all on TV. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Yeah. And Ryan says, I've used Chromecast and it's really nice. It's great. I mean, David Fletcher says, I thought about it. I'm in. All right. So please keep the comments coming. I don't know, Alan. I'm a weird use case scenario because my television is actually hooked up to my computer. So I don't need any of this stuff because I've got everything on my computer. But if I have if I definitely have a big screen TV on the wall and the old lady doesn't want a freaking wire, you know what I mean? then it's great. So and I have a smart TV. It's got the typical things you get from Vizio.
But let me cut you off right there, Dan. Here's the point. The point of Android TV. Okay, here's the best way I can relate it. Before Android, we had Samsung made their operating system for their phone, and LG made their operating system for their phone, and and Moto had their operating system for their phone. Every phone manufacturer had their own operating system. In the same way, these days, every TV manufacturer has their own operating system. Every cable box manufacturer has their own operating system. Every single television-related device has a different operating system. And Android wants to step in and say, hey, we fixed this problem for smartphones. Now we're going to save you television people and give you the same thing for your television operating system.
Okay, put this into context for me. Does this mean that, like, Vizio will sell an Android television, or
Yes.
they're going to sell their
Yes.
typical TV
Yes.
and instead
No.
of like
It's
input
exactly
or
like a
cable,
phone.
there's
Exactly like a phone, Dan.
They will sell a Vizio TV with Android TV on it.
is this basically a giant a Nexus 60 tablet that also
Only-
has a CATV tuner or whatever?
Only in the same way that Glass is a Nexus whatever, or that the smartwatches that are coming out are Nexus 1s.
So it's nothing
Okay.
like a Nexus
Let's-
60.
It's nothing like it at all, exactly.
Okay.
We need to throw out this concept that Android is a phone operating system. It's gone. The concept is out the window. If you haven't gotten the memo yet, here it is, and I'm going to tell it to you straight. You're wrong.
I say I
Android-
was referring to a tablet, not a phone.
tablets, phones, they're the same freaking thing. There is no difference between a tablet and a phone.
But
None
a TV and a
whatsoever.
tablet are different. An Android TV
Yeah.
and
Well, that's part of what they're trying to get across is yes, there is a difference. There's a difference in the UI. There's
Obviously,
a difference in how we interact with them. A tablet and a phone, we're touching the screen. We're caressing our screen.
Junior's
Okay? A watch, we're not. It's got a different form factor. A television, we're not. It's got a different form factor. Our cars are not. They've got different form factors. All of these things are different.
he's only
and
halfway through his
Android-
list of analogies, folks.
And Android, what they want is Android to be the common operating system to them, but for each form factor to have a distinct and unique user interface. And on that level, I get Android TV as a good thing. The problem is, in my opinion, the user interface they chose for Android TV. I'm sorry, I've now run out of analogies. I really can't think of anything as bad.
So now we have
as
Hangouts.
why they chose it
We have
for it.
Hangouts. We have
Android,
Google
Android,
Wallet,
yeah.
Google Wallet, Google
Well,
Wallet. We have Android that runs your free. You have your Android refrigerator, your Android Coke machine, your tablet, your phone, and
Well, that's the beauty of Android is that it can do these things. And now Google is stepping in and saying, "Oh yeah, that might be a good idea."
but
now
in
we're going to
this,
support
but
it.
people in the
Today,
same
it's
way that
like
people assume. One second, is in the same way that people associated with Hangouts with the video call thing on Google Plus. Then
Nobody
they
does
switched
that
the
anymore.
name.
Yes,
Well, I know
they've
now
wised
because
up
it's
to
on
that.
everyone's phone, and it's a great thing. I just had one of my sales reps. I said, install this app, and I said Google Plus and Hangouts, and I'll explain it tomorrow. It's just a wonderful It's a wonderful app. Nothing. I'm not aware of anything that it does everything it does. Kadea says a great comment here.
Well, and you said you ran out of words, so I guess Junior had a better way to explain it. Alan really dislikes Android TV with a fiery passion that can block out the sun, which I think that's kind of a play on me because that's something that I've said a lot of times. So
It's funny.
And
I think he only gets mad at me, or he only gets fired up because I was sick Friday.
No,
And
no,
he-
I'll
it was
tell
like
Craig
you were
that he's full of
asleep.
it too.
Huh?
Well, no, I'll tell Craig that he's full of it too. The reason why Friday was so lethargic was that nobody was asking me questions, and I didn't want to do a monologue for 4 hours.
You gotta have the Ed McMahon and the Johnny Carson together. They don't work.
You got to have an interviewer, and you're just a great interviewer, Dan.
Thanks. He's trying to get a raise. Don't
Oh,
believe
boy.
him.
Dan, you could double my salary.
I'm gonna triple
And I
your
would-
salary.
Ah. Well,
And then
then,
Pam wants to know. Pam wants to know how can we ensure that all devices will be compatible with Android?
that's very. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what Pam means by that one, but one of the things that that Google is doing is they've got a suite of verification tests that go on. So when we look back at Android 1, for example, they're going to be testing all of the components, and then once they're all put together, if you still want the Android name on it, you have to go pass a validation test. Presumably, Android TV will have its own certification suite. So if you're releasing a TV that says Android inside, it needs to pass the Android TV certification suite, or Google goes to you. At the same time, though, since it's still going to be open source, if you want to produce your own, black market TV with Android on it, you'll be able to do so. You just can't call it an Android TV. At least, did that answer your question, Pam?
I hope so.
If not, I know I'll be getting some scathing messages from you, so I'm not worried.
All right.
Kadesh,
Okay.
I don't know. Convince me that this is a good thing, because I just don't see it.
That's the problem. I can't, because I have not had enough time with this device to really tell you if it's a good thing or not. And they kind of just ran through it just like they do every time it's anything to do with television. So I don't really feel that it's a platform that can succeed if everybody jumps on board, meaning software developers. That's the only way it's going to succeed. And really, it would succeed in games, I would say, before anything else, because it's no different from Apple TV, Roku box, and everything else that we got.
But here's and I understand they're pitching it at that, but honestly, have you looked at the specs for it, at least for the base model?
I have.
Does it have the horsepower to actually run games?
It depends on the type of games, and we're not trying to compete necessarily with Xbox and PlayStation 4.
What are we trying to compete against? My tablet?
Pretty much.
Come on. Is a lean back full screen experience going to be that much better than my personal tablet game?
Okay, is it really gonna run? It's gonna run regular Android apps. Like I could play freaking Flappy Bird.
It's Android.
It's the same Android platform. It's not like it was last time around, Dan.
So he said it was not, but he said it wasn't. I asked him that. I said, "Is it like a giant Android tablet that also has the CATV tuner in it?" And he said, "No, it's nothing like that."
That's right.
This is different. This is different than that. But just compare the first platform. It's not like the first platform. You code the same way as you would code for a phone.
But
So it's making it easier for developers to develop for this platform. I mean, obviously there's a few things you got to do differently, but for the most part, it's making it easier. So
the underlying operating system is the exact same Android.
What's really cool, what's going to be awesome is, I don't know what kind of oomph is under the hood, but they're going to be able to create amazing Android games especially when the 4K TV comes out, right?
Dan, I don't think they can push 4K style games yet. But
why not?
It's just not okay.
Why not? If the processor on the TV can handle it, right? The TV's a computer.
It's not the it's not the TV that's needing to handle it. It's everything else.
What would what's his face? What was the famous show? Our really big show, the Beatles. Ed Sullivan. Was it Ed Sullivan show?
Ed Sullivan?
Yeah. What would Ed Sullivan think if someone said, "I got to get more RAM in my fucking TV"? Can you imagine? But seriously, I mean, explain why I'm crazy here. Because I'm thinking like, okay, they could up the game.
You're thinking video only, Dan. You're thinking video only, and it's not just video. I mean, there's a lot more that's got to be done for it to be able to, for you to do a 4K game. Like we're still not even on 4K games with the other systems, so that's no time soon. It can
because
play
nobody
4K.
has a 4K TV. 4K is not going to make it until I walk into Costco and I see 6 4K TVs up there. Then I know they've arrived with the fish and the wildlife crap that they put on with the big TVs.
Dan, I was there last week. There are 6 4K TVs in Costco, so it's definitely here to stay. However, gaming is going to be different. It's not just playing video. There's a lot of I can't even say it. It's a lot of stuff that needs to happen under the hood for you to game versus just play video. Go ahead.
The problem, Dan, is that when you're streaming a 4K video, all you need to do is uncompress the video stream. Now, mind you, they've got dedicated processors doing that, and that's all you need to do. For a 4K video game, you're not decompressing a video stream. You are rendering that environment in real time. So you're rendering 4 times as much graphics as you did before, and that's an order of magnitude more complex in the processing.
But isn't that pure? I mean, I've developed a game before, and you would, the way we did it was you had your video card, and it was like a giant palette, and the screen was like one square, and there was all this other stuff you could use to the side and the bottom where all your characters were, and you'd bring them up, and you just copy from X to Y and then move it here, and that's how you did it.
Double buffering is so last year.
I mean,
double buffering isn't enough anymore.
It was a 1993 game.
Double buffering isn't enough anymore.
But it has sold 110,000 copies. How many copies has your last app sold out?
You want to know?
Even at free, and I was paid. I had a brand new BMW, baby. Bam. So
Fine,
anyway.
Dan, I look forward to seeing the 4K version of your game.
Good
Available
luck.
on exactly 0 platforms.
I don't know. I don't want to get in the weeds, but I would assume that right now, you're writing applications and you're thinking, okay, I'm writing this for a variety of Android phones. It could be a Samsung Galaxy Mega, which is just absurd, or it could be a Note 2 or a S4, S5, or it could be a smaller one. And so I'm thinking about that form factor. I'm holding in my hand, and then I've got the various maximum, minimum resolutions available on phones currently today. All of a sudden, I'm thinking now I can write an application for, a 32 to 60-inch screen. The same application is going to show up. That's a game changer. And then it's going to be 1920 by 1080 in some cases.
The problem thinking about the fact that it's a game changer is the fact that right now the hardware that's going into the TV is no more powerful than the hardware that's going into the tablet. So it's not powered enough to do that.
Well, why are they going to do some lame-ass ghetto Android TV? Why can't they put isn't it going to be a race to the top? Can't they say this has a
So you want
i7, the i7 Vizio TV with 16 gigs of RAM?
So you want fragmentation in Android TV? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that there's different processors in each phone, but they all look
So
like
you're
a
saying you
freaking
want
Android.
fragmentation in Android TV?
We already been down the fragmentation road, Dan.
So Samsung, Vizio, and Sony, and I guess I don't know if they're getting out of it, whatever. They're all gonna have to have the same exact processor.
They didn't really clarify.
If not, they're going to have the problem that you just outlined, that some things are going to work better on some TVs and some aren't.
Which
So
we've
you're
been
gonna
down
add
this
the
road with the Logitech Review versus the Sony Google TV. We've been down that. And then Ryan Gernick wants to point out, Dan, that most games haven't even been upgraded to 1080p yet. And so, we're talking Xbox and PlayStation 4s. It's not 4K. Is not something that's down the road this soon with gaming.
Yeah, I was playing Flappy Bird on the can the other day, and it's definitely not 1080p. It's like 320p. I like it though. It's addictive. I think I got 2 max after like 50 tries. All right, so we all agree Android TV is awesome, and
I'm just saying that Android. You made him mad.
Alan just
You made him flip.
I was talking about Flappy Bird, his favorite game.
All I'm saying about Android TV is that I think it has potential if done correctly, and as long as the software. Let's say even if Square Enix started releasing some of their games to be able to work with this, I mean, I see this. I'm not saying it's going to be #1, but I can see it at least staying around. Versus,
I don't understand why, if you have a 60-inch freaking television set, that a year or two from now, an Android TV can't offer a gaming experience that is equivalent with what the Xbox or anything else can produce, because the TV,
Okay,
I
so
mean, they got
Ryan
a lot of
Gernick
space
answered that
there.
question for you, Dan. He answered that question. He says the GPU in the Android TV needs to be able to generate pixels for 4K experience.
Thank
And
you.
Alan explained that it has to be it's a lot of rendering that has to go on. It's not just uncompressing streams. So there's got to be a lot of processing power in this TV.
You know,
Yeah,
Kadeus,
that's what I'm saying. Why do it half-ass? Why not do a real freaking thing?
Why not do it half-assed? Look what we're talking about, Dan! Kadeus,
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Kadeus, you said something brilliant, and I just want to repeat it again because you hit the nail right on the head. You said it has a great amount of potential. The problem is, once again, Google has something with a great amount of potential, and it, you know, when was the last time they didn't utterly squander that?
I have no answer to that.
You have no answer. Okay, Android is about as close as they came to not squandering the potential of the platform, and it took them how many years to get there? I mean, it's a miracle Android got out of 2.3.
That was a disaster.
You know,
I remember that.
Because it wasn't until Android 4 that Android actually started reaching its potential.
But that's why I say I think Google looks for everybody else to finish what they start. Their idea is to point everyone in the right direction.
No. Here's the problem.
That's what they do.
Yeah, but the problem is more and more people aren't finishing what they start. What
That's
Google
true.
starts.
That's
They're
true.
waiting for Google to finish it. And, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, I don't see Google finishing up with Android TV. I just don't. I think they took it, you know, there are components that I think are in the right direction, but in 2 years we're going to talk about how, you know, Android Super TV is coming out, and this time for real. You know, the year after that, I/O will feature Android Home again, and you know, this time we've got it, and it'll be centered around the television. And you know, come on, they just don't know what they're doing.
Okay, I got a question. If if Samsung comes out with the S6 or HTC 3, and there's a battle over who has the biggest processor, the most RAM, the higher resolution, right, or other specs, I know that my application is going to start faster, switching around is going to be faster, the response is going to be faster, the thing will perform better with the faster stuff. So what is different about the freaking TV? Why?
Dan, the TV is different because if Samsung releases their S5, what you're saying is that the television is just a screen. So that's like Samsung releasing their S6 with just a screen and nothing else. The TV is not there. It's not there to process all the other things needed. It's just. Why do you have your monitor separate from your desktop?
Kadeus, what I think Dan is saying is that, you know, right now we have a Samsung S whatever, and we have an HTC H whatever, and both of them run Android apps just fine. But, you know, why can't TVs be the same way? That, you know, they'll all run Android apps just fine. And the answer is that's the problem we have today, Dan. Is that there are apps that work just fine on a Samsung and crash miserably on an HTC, and nobody knows why. That's the fragmentation problem.
It was my understanding Android TV is going to be a box, or it's going to be built into TVs.
And let's take a step back. Android TV is a set of software and specifications that cable box manufacturers and set-top box manufacturers and television manufacturers will all be able to put into their components in the same way that Android is a set of stuff that phone manufacturers have all put into their phones.
So you will see manufacturers selling Android TV set-top boxes, and
you will see manufacturers selling set-top boxes with Android TV.
You know, We got to come up with a new name for that. Someone wrote about that. There's no more set top, and they're not boxes.
Damn. Oh God, damn.
It's. Am I lying?
Okay, Dan.
Is the
you're gonna
Chromecast
have-
a set top box?
Okay, Dan, you're going to have people selling dongles that say Android TV. Better? Let's move on. We're beat this subject to death, I think.
I don't know. I got a few more questions.
Go for it then.
I was just going to say, we're going to see televisions. Will some boxes have faster performance than others?
That's what we're hoping they don't do, but
Okay. Let's dumb it
And then-
down.
and then just to answer the question, Ryan wants to know what other stuff we're talking about when we're saying Google.
Okay,
Google
Ryan,
Fiber is a perfect
watch
example.
now. I'm going to show you. We got this link here.
Okay.
I'm going to show. This is what we got coming up tonight, or on the show. We're here right now. Next, we're going to talk about the G Watch, then Android.
No, Dan,
What?
that's not what he's talking about.
What's he
Earlier
asking?
we were talking about we were talking about Google starting projects and letting other people finish it, and he wants examples of what those projects are. And I say Google Fiber is one of those examples because they only want to lay fiber a little bit and just to encourage the industry to build fiber out.
A
You
lot
have
of their
another-
hardware things, the Nexus phones are not, blowing Samsung sales figures out of the water, but they're beautiful and they're awesome, and they're encouraging other companies to up their game, but I
Right,
don't know.
and-
I mean,
We can remember when they started the Nexus line. They said, Nexus isn't just a new way of building phones, it's a new way of selling phones. And we hope to revolutionize the smartphone sales market. And they didn't. Because everyone else said, what? You guys are idiots. We can look at things like Google Drive, where they've built a core set of features and then expected people to extend those core sets of features. And we've seen that to some extent, but not a massive extent.
Same with Hangouts.
you talking about with
No,
apps?
With everything when it comes to Google.
But there's two separate things there. You're talking Drive. You're talking about app, encouraging developers to do apps and stuff.
We're talking
There's
any
also
Google projects. We wanted examples of any Google
there are two
project.
things that they do. They can create a platform, and then they can encourage developers. That's what I/O is about. It's about encouraging developers to create apps to make their platform more useful. And then the second thing is they create the Nexus phones are more not really trying to sell a billion phones, although that'd be nice, but to try to show what they think is the perfect Android experience to encourage other developers to do less TouchWiz and more
Dan,
real Android.
No, but Dan, that's the same thing. The Nexus phone is the exact same thing because the platform there is Android, and they're trying to they're trying to give a couple of examples about building on top of Android, and then expecting the manufacturers to actually build on Android. That's what Nexus is all about. It's a demonstration phone.
Okay, and we're gonna get some other suggestions here. Drive, Wallet,
Wallet.
Yeah, and you'd have to be more specific, Pam, about when you say wallet. We're not sure exactly. All right, so real quick, let me. This is just because there was a question earlier about what we're talking. If you don't see the topic list, we're gonna do the LG G Watch in just a second. We're gonna talk about Android Auto. Google goes all in with OK Google, hands-free search, Google Fit, Android L with Material. If I'm pronouncing
This is, of course, assuming we get to this stuff because this is only an hour show, and we're now more than halfway through it.
Android on Chrome OS. Alan will yell here, 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 and here at me. And Google's Android boss on why this week's news was so huge. Okay, next up, Android. Alan. The names are synonymous, so I can just interchange them. Android Alan. Oh my God. Everyone start calling him Android Alan. Okay, so Alan has a new he does not have Cadeas Beat, but Alan does have a new accessory, and let's see what that is, Alan. And can you please tell us about it? And now you've played
The
with
watch. Next story. No, seriously. This is the LG. I don't know what it's called. The LG something. The LG
It's
G
the unfortunately named LGG, the G Watch. It's nice look. It's better looking. It's less. it's less shitty looking than when I first saw it. It appears to be. How heavy is it? What does it feel? Does it feel solid or is it like cheap plasticky? What is it?
I mean, it's the case itself. I guess it is plastic, although it feels pretty solid. The whole thing is, it's not terribly thick. The manual is the exact same thickness that the watch is. The band is this rubbery thing with a pretty standard clasp on it. The interface, it's Android Wear, which if you're used to glass, is very familiar yet different in a couple of ways. It by default it displays the time and displays a notice that at some point I can tell it to mute, go away, and it goes into black and white mode where it saves battery a bit. I can wake it up, and start scrolling through the rich color notifications, etc. Okay, 3,000 steps today, so I need to do better tomorrow.
Okay, so question. I thought you could mute it by taking your finger down, right?
Covering your hand over it mutes it.
Oh, because I thought that they said you would drag it down and it would mute, and then you drag it down again, it unmutes.
Oh, no, that's mute volume. I meant mute visually.
Oh, okay. So by default, it's on all the time. But if you're, so you just have to, you just show us. Can you do that one more time so we can see how long it takes?
Sure.
Or
it's really quick, just literally like that, and it goes to
except
black and white mode.
It's not doing anything.
No, it is. It goes into black and white mode. So if I'm, if it's alert and I'm going through my notices,
right,
and I'm done, I can just mute it, and it goes right back to the black and white mode with the time.
Oh, so you could you could just set it on your lap. I mean, just touch it to your leg to mute it if you're driving or something.
Yeah, or it'll go back to that default after a few seconds of inactivity anyway.
Now that you have had it for a while, what kind of battery performance are you seeing, and what's your level of usage?
On a pretty active day for me, it had over 24 hours of battery, and I say over because I've never let it die yet.
Of course, we know how Android battery creep over time.
Oh, sure. As soon as people start actually putting crap on it, it'll, plummet like a rock. But, it's a pretty decent battery life right now. I'm seeing people saying, oh, it's only a day battery life. Well, yeah, but, trust me, it's like 3 times better than your phone is probably. But it's an issue.
Gernick wants to know, why did you get that when you can pull your phone out of your pocket and do whatever you want?
Because you don't have to because you have to pull your phone out of your pocket.
No, hold on. Alan's got a good explanation for this.
I'm curious what my good explanation is. It boils down to because you have to pull your phone out of your pocket, and honestly, why the hell would you want to do that for like 99% of your notifications? Seriously, it's you glance at it, you're done. You move on with your life. Get on with your life, people. Stop hiding behind the freaking screen.
Yeah, I think there are many things. Like if you have you got a kid in your arm, or you're bringing groceries in, or you're driving and you just want to glance and see, oh, it's Cadeas, I'll blow him off.
Kid in your arm is a bad example there, Dan.
Doing what?
Kid in your arm is a reason for glass.
In your arm the kid in your arm is a bad example because the kid will either be covering the watch or you'll need to doesn't work so well.
You would just set the kid down on the sidewalk and then get your phone
and pull out your phone. Right.
It's just quicker. I mean, it's like if I get anything, I have to pull my phone out and then look at it, and it's more convenient, especially if you get a lot of notifications. Like if you were a sales rep, and it was
it's a lot more convenient. It really, I think this is really the beauty of the Wear and Glass interface, and they're very similar at this point, is that they're really intended for you to just glance at them, get the information you need at a glance. If you need more information, with Wear you can just say, okay, open this up on my phone, or reply to it right there. What did I say on Wear? You can just, you can say, open this up on my phone if you want to, if it needs a bigger reply. But if it doesn't, and most things don't, you glance at it, you get on with your life.
Okay, so if you have any other questions about the G Watch, ask them. And even if we're on another topic, we'll shoot back and Alan can answer that, because I know we've seen the demo at, I'm sure anyone who would watch the show probably watched IO videos. so you kind of know what it's about. But if you have any questions that weren't answered there, like my question about how's it in real, what it's really like to have one and use it. Did you want to say anything else about this before we go to a different thing?
No.
Does it tell time? Okay, next up is Android Auto. How excited
This is interesting.
are you thinking about? Are you?
Boy.
There's a whole new set of apps, right?
I think so.
Potentials here. So this is going to turn your Hyundai into a Tesla Model S, basically. I think you're going to see. This isn't something you. Is this going to be like you can only buy a car with it, or is this going to be like you can get a holder for a Nexus 7 and get the stuff and add it to any car? Because that would be really epic.
You can actually buy a car it's already gonna. Most of the interface is already gonna be built into the new cars coming out, but most of the software running is gonna be running from your phone. It's not gonna be running from that device. So it's more like a client device, if anything. That was my understanding. Am I kind of off on that, Alan? Or
But my question is, can we anticipate existing cars will be able to be upgraded to have a version of this, or do we think not? That this is.
I don't think they said that.
Probably not, but let's understand why that would be a bad idea. Part of what makes Android Auto so good is that the existing controls that you have in your car, the controls that you've got on your steering wheel, the controls you have as part of your radio, those existing interfaces won't change at all because they're very finely tuned for use in a car. The current practice of sticking your Nexus 7 in a cradle and sticking it up on your windshield, that was a bad idea to begin with. And just, and putting an Android car or Android Auto interface over it isn't going to make it any better. It wouldn't surprise me if we do see some retrofit modules, but I think they're going to be few and far between because really this is intended as a completely new and different experience. And I think it's to Google's credit that they're aiming it that way.
Do we know any comparison to the stuff that's out there that's proprietary? Like I know that obviously
It's
Tesla
probably
Model
very
S.
similar to the Microsoft Sync, whatever that's called. It's
Okay.
probably very similar in concept to that.
Okay. All right. Android Auto.
So what do you think, Alan? Do you think it's gonna stay around? You think it's got a better chance than Google Android TV?
Oh, it's got a better chance. I think it's a better product than Android TV, mostly because I think it understands what it needs to do better than Android TV understands what it needs to do.
From what you can tell, do you think it's better than Microsoft Sync in the car?
I honestly don't know enough about Microsoft Sync. I think the two of them are fairly comparable, though.
It's here to stay.
Microsoft Sync crashes way too much.
It's here to stay. I'll tell you why. Because
because Android is rock solid.
Well, we don't know. We'll see.
it's here to stay because if they, if a bunch of car companies come out with these things, they're not going to dump the product. They'd have hell to pay.
Sure they are.
I think that's the only thing that's kept Google Voice around is that they have this big deal with Sprint, where all the Sprint users, like me,
Well, that's
can
not true.
use.
No, they'll kick it to the curb if they needed to. This is Google.
If they do it, I mean, I'm sure that before Dodge markets a car with Android Auto,
This is what.
and you buy a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 vehicle, because you were turned on by this product, and then they stop supporting it after 3 years, you're suing somebody. There's no terms of service agreement when you buy a car, right? I'm going to sue GM if I bought a car because it had this, and I blew 40 grand, and they stopped supporting it. Somebody's going to get served. That's a big deal. You can't just abandon something like that with a $30,000 product. Oh, we're bored with it now. It's the new word cut.
And the difference is that if they abandon it, it's not going to stop your car from working. So it's not. that's not going to be an issue there.
No,
if
if someone says, this car, I don't know. I think that they would be. This is a permanent, and also it's just a natural evolution because cars are becoming more computerized. It's not like the old days when you could just get in the. You could almost stand these old pickups. You could almost stand in them to fix stuff. There's so much room now. It's all computerized, for better or worse. So anyway, any other thoughts on Android Auto? Android Auto. I'm speaking like car commercial. In your Jaguar. All right, so next is software stuff. Google goes all in with OK Google hands-free search. This is from the. Was it Danny Sullivan who wrote this? It's his site, right? From Search Engine Land. So I don't think I have this. I don't know if I have. I've got 4. I don't know what I have. 4.3, 3, or whatever. What's this is obviously not been read by our panel.
No, you're just mangling it. We're letting you hang yourself here.
Go ahead. Tell us what this is about.
So basically, what this is that Google Search, which also includes components like Google Now and a bunch of Google Voice Command, now for any Android, for any KitKat and above that has installed this version, if you say OK Google anywhere, it will immediately go to the Google Voice Command. And from there, you can do any one of a bunch of things like OK Google, send a message to. OK Google, read my email. The sorts of things that we've grown to know and love.
I noticed before the show, you said OK Google, start my stopwatch.
Yes.
And
I
that
was talking
me.
to my watch, however.
You have to rub it in. I mean, if you got to be that kind of guy,
Well, I mean, I
flaunt
could
your
be that
watch.
kind of. Look, if you don't want to be that kind of guy, I'm just going to go out to my driverless car and sit there and listen to tunes from Android, from Android Auto, and maybe play with the Android TV in the backseat. Okay?
Yeah, if any of our
Well,
viewers have any
if
suggestions,
you're not driving, you can definitely play with that Android TV.
Right. I did say the driverless car.
Yeah.
yeah, Alan will be in a much different frame of mind if they had given him like a Chevy Volt with Android Auto and a nice 60-inch Vizio as he was walking out of.
No, I'd probably still tear it apart.
He's like the only honest guy out there. He will.
I call him as I see him. I'll be honest. I'm hoping to get an Android TV to try out, and because I've got some clients that I think can use it. But I'm still dubious about the platform.
All right.
I think the changes they made to Chromecast are far more interesting than anything they've done to Android TV.
So
I do agree with that.
we remain cautiously optimistic, cautiously pessimistic.
I was going to say, you called this optimistic?
You stole my line, by the way. You used that line, and that's my line. I invented that line. You stole it a couple weeks ago.
Cautiously pessimistic?
Yeah,
I trademarked that word. Go look it up.
that's my
Next
line.
story, Dan.
Next,
Now-
Google Fit. I think you were lamenting your poor performance this day on how many steps you've taken.
Are you trying to say I'm having a Google Fit? Is that what you're saying here?
They should have named this feature Android or Allen, Google Allen.
Well, you actually make an interesting point here. Why isn't it called Android Fit? But it is called Google Fit. It's an interesting question. What this is a direct competitor to
That is a
Apple's
good
Health
point.
Kit. Not to be confused with Heathkit. Nobody gets that joke.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Dan got the joke.
Oh my
Good.
God.
No, so this is a set of libraries that are going to be accessible through the cloud, through Android, and through iOS to help you track certain fitness goals, or through other devices, presumably, other platform agnostic devices, to help you track and record fitness activity and goals and so forth. It's going to be part of Google Play services. It's interesting, I guess.
It's a space they should be in because there are so many people. Most people who have a phone have an Android phone, and so it's something they're familiar with, and it makes the watch more attractive, right? It's not just I mean, there are other fitness watches out there, have been for years, but if they can build this feature in there and it's an interface that they're familiar with, that's why Apple made such a push to get Apple IIs in schools. because if the kids learn that's why Chrome, this tremendous success that we're seeing with Chromebooks in schools is so important, because once you get them into the Google Apps ecosystem, or the Google ecosystem in general and the Android ecosystem, then they're going to, that's familiar. People like, they don't like change. There's a fear of change. So, yeah. Cadeas doesn't need it because he has 0 body fat. And he eats crazy stuff. He actually doesn't. Cadeas, what do you think? Are you going to get, are you going to get a watch, or you don't need a watch? Do you need a watch, Alan? I mean, you got it free, but do you need one if you have glass? Are they complementary, or you don't need one or the other?
I'm gonna get a 360.
Now you buy everything because you like to test it and play with it, and you develop for stuff.
Yes.
I mean, not that you're like, money burns a hole in your pocket, but you're a developer and that's what you do. So naturally, just like Leo, who reviews everything, you buy everything. But do you think that the watch? I guess it's a question for Alan, really. Will there be any point to you having that watch if you're wearing glass? Are they complementary, or do they cancel each other out? If you have one, you don't need the other. It's ridiculous. Like having 3 phones.
What it kind of indicates is that each device has particular areas where it works well and where it doesn't. So your example earlier of trying to, do something with your watch while you're carrying a baby, far easier to do with glass. Same thing with groceries. Far easier to do those sorts of things with glass. But but wandering around the house, I don't wear glass because it's, it's uncomfortable for me to wear it and look at my screen at the same time. But having the watch on during that time is a lot easier and a lot more convenient for me to get notifications on. So it's, the good news is they work together, they complement each other. They're going to work together better over the coming months. And I think we're really going to see this concept of the right form factor at the right times. And you get to pick what those right times are.
Okay. Awesome. So we'll keep getting updates from Alan as we go on this show and our Friday show, Google Plus Week, which is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday. But we're probably not gonna do it this Friday. If something big happens, we might do something, But we appreciate you watching. Please comment. That's one of the best parts of the show. If you have a comment or a question or just something funny, whatever, we stick them up there, and we love those. So please keep them coming. Okay, next is Android L with, is it pronounced Material?
Yes, it's pronounced
Material.
Okay, so, and we don't have a name, just like the rumor for K was Kit Kat, or was Key Lime Pie, and then I swear to God, I thought Kit Kat was, we all did a private chat, remember? Is this a joke or real? Or we all said, like, did you believe it at first when they announced Kit Kat? I thought it was like an April Fool's joke.
Right. So the code name for the next release of Android is Android L. They haven't released the name yet. It's got piles of new stuff to it, some of which are cool, including some new power-saving modes, a bunch of other stuff that I've already completely forgotten. But the big news, of course, is Material. And we've seen the first hints of what Material will look like in the Google Plus app that's currently out, and on Android Wear itself, which requires Android L. So a number of interesting design features. I think, coming up with the new design language has been interesting. There's a whole book that they published trying to describe these new design features and help people get used to them. We'll see where it goes. I think it's got some interesting potential.
Now they showed a demo of that. Was that were they showing that or Chromebook or at the very beginning? That really brilliant at I/O. That brilliant giant display stuff was moving from one screen to the other. What were they? Was that L they were showing or what?
I don't even remember what you're talking about now, but it was probably L. Because watching it was brilliant, very colorful. Just enough 3D rendering to give you good perspectives of what's going on, good renditions of motion so you have a sense that things are happening, not that they just happen. some good visual cues, some good backgrounds. These are all important elements, important contextual elements when it comes to when it comes to L.
And I'm very, very, very interested in material design. I actually think that that's in a way, kind of a game changer when it comes to just design for the web in general. So
that's one of the things that I think is very interesting, is that they're not just releasing material for Android, but they're also releasing tools to do material design for the web. That is kind of a big thing. And those designs for the web are being done in some very, very simple ways using a technology called Polymer.
I'm very, very interested in it.
I am cautiously interested in it. My biggest concern is that it's going to create visual designs that are not going to be familiar to some people.
Oh, okay.
So unless, it's going to harken back to a clear Android-looking design. And right now, certainly for a domestic market that's still iPhone obsessed, they're not going to be as familiar with that design element.
Yeah, I think about having to teach my grandmother this.
Right.
So yeah, I get you there. But no, I think it's a turn for the better. I honestly think it even changes the way you design your apps. So now you're not too. I have different ways of designing an app now because of material design. So I think it's a good thing. I think we're going to have some interesting designs on it once everybody starts releasing their stuff.
Bottom line, is it an improvement? Is it more intuitive?
Significant improvement.
Is it more intuitive?
It's more intuitive, but as Alan said, you have to be open-minded to the change. Some of the users will have to be.
Okay, are we describing Google Plus or L?
Google Plus on mobile.
You have to be open to the change.
But they won't have a choice. This will be one of those things where everybody that's designing will be designing this way more than likely.
Is this going to go over like ice cream sandwich?
No, hang on.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because most designers out there are using iPhones.
And you think that this is limited to just Android?
No, but I think most designers out there are not going to pay attention to it because they already have their way of designing things. And they're not going to adopt someone else's design guidelines, especially not Android's. Let me put it to you this way. I need to talk to to my designers and ask them if they've seen this, and I'm willing to bet they haven't.
Question: Is this
I'm
going
willing to bet web design.
Say that. I think once people. Did we lose them? I think once people start using this, I honestly think everybody's going to start moving over to it because it's something new and different. Even on the iPhone side.
That's like saying everyone's going to move over to the Metro design style.
Okay,
no,
but
and you saw how that worked out.
As far as the public, is this an incremental or significant change? A, and B, are they going to react to it like ice cream sandwich, where it was like, oh my God, this is so much better, this is so awesome? Or are they going to react to it like the YouTube new comment system?
I think it'll be the first one.
It'll be more towards the first one, assuming the hardware can handle it.
Okay. Anything else on this?
No, next subject.
Kier Luca, it's very lucky. Be there on conference. So fair. It's your wars. I agree, 100%. And then, all right. Next is
What is?
Android on Chrome OS. What's the deal there?
So one of the things that they announced is making it official. They're going to be releasing components to run Android apps on Chrome OS. It wasn't entirely clear to me why anyone actually wants this, but they'll be doing it.
I think that's a neat idea.
Okay, next topic.
Are there any apps like Flipboard, for example, I like Flipboard. I like looking at certain Flipboard magazines. Now, if I share, like, we have the URL for we have the Our Android Week and the Google Plus Week, Friday 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. We have the two magazines, and both of them have several hundred followers, and I can look at both of those. You can look at them on desktop, but you can't have the full experience. You can't find new magazines. You can't look at the general, like, news, technology. I like to look at news, business news, technology. I can't do that on Flipboard, and Flipboard is, curates based on the people I follow and what's popular, right? So I can't do that. There's no desktop experience that mimics that. So that's an app that I would enjoy having
But
on
I
my
think
desktop.
that would be a Flipboard issue, Dan. That Flipboard needs to make a desktop experience. I don't think.
I'm saying that's an example of an app that is on my phone and tablet that I use on the CAN, but I can't use on my desktop.
And you think that using it on your desktop is going to be a comfortable experience?
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's a larger
touch screen.
Well, I guess it's not
Yeah.
a larger screen, right? Because they showed it. It was kind of like the same.
Dan, if I made a desktop application and forced you to run it on your tablet, do you think that would be a comfortable experience? Here's the thing. Desktop is not tablet, is not phone, is not watch, is not glass, is not auto. Let's stop trying to cram the same form factor into the wrong place.
We're not. But I guarantee you, if you go through Starbucks in a college town, you're going to see kids playing some Android games on a Chromebook.
Oh, because that's going to be just a wonderful experience.
Dan,
What
it
makes
doesn't-
they're going to be doing something that's stupid?
that's not even gonna make sense, Dan. A lot of that is touchscreen. If I'm playing Flappy Bird, how's that any different? Yeah, it's different. It's totally, you can't do that. That's limited use. It's not for every single app, as Alan pushes my face. So, I mean,
Okay. So that happened. All right. So that's exciting news. They're both wrong, and I'm right. And a year from now, I'll be proven right, and they'll be proven the other thing. All right. So next up is Google's Android boss, Sundar Pichai, who's always welcome to join us on this program. He's probably scared of Alan, I think, on why this week's news was so huge. And also there was a New York Times article, which I actually read, which you referenced on Friday, and they kind of talked about some of this. It was with Larry Page and with Sundar. So it was the least exciting. It was great, but it was the least great of the three IOs I've watched. I thought, obviously, Sergey jumping out of the airplane thing, that was the IO, and then the other one was awesome with the Pixel and stuff. But what are your thoughts on that in general, and about this interview with Sundar and what this means?
The interview was interesting. I don't think there was anything terribly revolutionary here. He was spouting the party line. I think the most interesting thing is they asked him if he wanted to be CEO of Microsoft, and he said no. They asked him if he wanted to be CEO of Google, and he said no. So,
With Sundar right next to, or with Larry right next to him, probably. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not interested in that. I could listen to him talk all day. I love.
Really?
Oh, I love his accent. His thick,
accent is great. Unfortunately, his voice puts you to sleep.
Yeah, he's not like, he would not
He's
make
not
a good Southern Baptist evangelist. But
He's not a dynamic speaker.
but
He's a nice guy, but he's not a dynamic.
yeah, he's a nice guy. He's got a little wit, right? Probably a lot more wit when he's not on camera with a million people watching. But I love the way he pronounces stuff. He's easier to understand than Sarik, you got to admit. Especially when Sarik's had a few. So, what are your general thoughts on what, I guess this is about their perception of what you saw, what they presented that week?
I think probably the most interesting thing he said this week was when he was talking about Samsung, and he clarified that they're not at war and that they work really closely together almost on a daily basis. And I think that's something that a lot of people needed to hear because a lot of people like to think that Samsung's at war with Google and vice versa. So, or
Well,
I
you
should say
know, but
Android.
it's important to remember just because you see it as a tabloid newspaper publisher, I can tell you, just because somebody does a clickbait headline and interprets something a certain way, or because some mid or low level Google employee off the record suggests that there's friction, does not necessarily mean that's the case. And almost every Samsung phone that is sold is in partnership with Google. So let's not kid ourselves here. They have a symbiotic relationship. But that doesn't mean that Samsung's not going to try stuff. That doesn't mean that Google's not going to partner with somebody to sell a phone, which is kind of, or at one point they sold their own phone, right? So, but they value their partnerships. Anything else on this? Okay. All right, so next up is coming up next week, right? Yes, coming up
Yeah.
next Friday on Google Plus Week.
We'll be celebrating the 4th of July, so we probably won't have a show.
Correct. So this will be coming up not this Friday, but at a date to be announced. We probably will just skip it for a week. I don't think we've ever done that though, have we?
Yeah, we have.
We did?
Yeah,
It was like Christmas or something.
yeah.
Or Hanukkah, sorry. Something. It was
But normally we have these shows, our Google Plus Week, every Friday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. And that's the sister show to this show, which is our Android Week, which is every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Monday show, we talk about Android. Friday show, we talk about everything else having to do with Google, which is more than you might think.
awesome. And just a couple notes that two stories that happened that are interesting, and we would have been discussing Friday on Google Plus Week, but we probably will not since Alan alerted me to the date. Google Glass snoopers can steal your passcode with a glance. It's a story from Wired, clickbait, and Eric Schmidt and the guy who runs, I forget what it is, and it was a co-author author of his book, went to Havana, and that's a really interesting story. And check out our Flipboard magazine, Google Plus Week, and our other Flipboard magazine, Our Android Week, if you're interested in those things. So thank you much for watching. Thank you to Alan and Cadeas, and we love you, Pam, and best wishes. And thank you all for watching, and thank you so much for commenting. We really appreciate it. Last comment, good one. Android is for games, desktop is for work. And Pam Adger says,
Where's hockey?
Pam Adger says, I want Flipboard on my desktop. See? Again.
I want Flipboard on my desktop too, but I don't want a really crappy Android phone experience on my desktop.
So that
I
would
want a good, well-optimized desktop experience on my desktop.
And
So-
Josh says overall it's a cool feature, but he doesn't see many people using it. So
Who's the person that said desktop is for work, Android is for games? Who said that? Put it up.
Kier, you're trolling me because you know I can't pronounce the name.
No, I'm not looking at the comment at all. I just
It's
want to
Ki-
see it up on the screen.
Kier Luca, I think.
let's see it.
I got it on the screen. I can't put it up on this screen because I'm on two.
Okay,
Oh,
The audience
right.
can see it.
you're wrong. You're wrong. That's all there is to it.
oh, here
Okay.
you go, Alan. Here you go. There you
Okay,
go.
Android for games, desktop for work. No, sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, okay. So Pam and I on the Flipboard thing are correct, and which would make Alan the opposite, the antonym.
So that would make me visionary and you guys backwards. Got it. Good. We're all set then.
Yeah. Yeah, if they put Android on Chromebooks, it's going to be huge. It's going to sell more Chromebooks. It's going to be massive. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be bigger than the Nexus freaking Q. Mark my words. You heard it here first. Thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. We're here every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube Live and Google+. It was awesome. It was fun tonight. Alan was in rare form, much less subdued than Friday when I was ill. So we will see you next week. right here on our Android Week. Until then, have a wonderful Android week. Take care. Thanks.